Good morning, students. I hope your Labor Day weekend or your holiday today is progressing smoothly, that you're getting some relaxation. However, the fact that we've just started class here at Victor Valley College, and in this case in particular, entrepreneurship, the mindset, more than likely it's essential that you are doing some type of reading or research today to apply to your overall knowledge, creating, developing, processing, and building your knowledge around several different academic and or professional uh, related subjects. In this video, I wanted to just talk about two things in particular. And this is not a concern of mine, but I wanted to walk through what students would do typically. I know I have 23 students in this entrepreneurship course, and I am seeing that quite a few of you are doing your consistent work. And as I mentioned in the very first video in the announcements that I prepared, everybody will pass this course, A, B, or C. Remember, this course is one of 6 that is designed in a certificate, an entrepreneurship certificate that is going to be vetted and validated within the next couple of months. So students will be able to, this is going to be what we call a certificate of achievement. So if you finish all 6 of the courses, not only will you have a more developed sense of being an entrepreneur, understanding mindset, understanding innovation, understanding the finances of businesses, understanding the law component, and more importantly, going through a practitioner level business canvas course where you'll actually develop or build from what you may already have an entrepreneurship idea. We also have a pitch competition in the spring that students will be allowed to create a 3 to 5 minute video, including a slide deck, PowerPoint slide deck, that will enable them to pitch their ideas. And last year, Barstow Community College and Barstow High School, I was involved as a judge, and we did a pitch competition, and it was very, very interesting. It was just building, engaging, networking. It also gave future entrepreneurs the ability to pitch their idea. In this case, a gentleman from Big Bear won the pitch competition in which he was pitching a canoeing service for families that would go up to Big Bear and maybe want to do something on a vacation or on a weekend. But there were a plethora, or should I say many different ideas, some socially driven, some non-for-profit, others for-profit. It was a great expanded ability for students to pitch their ideas, because if you are involved in that, you also have an opportunity to go to what we call the regional pitch competition, which includes the Inland Empire Entrepreneurship Consortium. So this is all 12 community colleges that have signed, in this case, our president signed an entrepreneurship pledge. So you'll be able to pitch your ideas, and from there is venture capital monies that funds businesses starting at $2,000 all the way up to $150,000, depending upon or shall I say, a student's idea. So with these things in mind, I want to say that, again, going back to the premise, is that if you don't touch the material in Canvas and you don't attempt any of the work in the My Mastering Lab, even though you'll get a C in the class, you won't be able to turn that into what I might call a return on your investment, a return on the time that you spent this first 8 weeks. And then the second 8 weeks, we'll have our innovation class. And then next semester in the spring, we'll have 2 more courses. And by the time the summer's up, because we're going to also offer the last 2 classes of the summer, you will have a certificate of achievement in entrepreneurship. More importantly, you'll be able to then continue and or take your new idea and to put it into work. However, the success of that can hinge largely on what you do now, on what you do in the first 8 weeks of this course, on what you complete, what items you do in the second 8 weeks, and so forth and so on. So I hope that you know that, and again, I say this with support, that you could pass the course but not know how to apply your business. Again, that realization, then it's up to you. I think in the discussion board this week, I asked you to be entrepreneurial when we talk about your academics. What type of planning are you doing? What type of activities are you doing to develop your brand? And this week, we'll talk about ethics. And to what degree does an entrepreneur have to embed ethics in his or her decision making? Well, I've talked enough on those ideas. Best success moving forward. So I want to talk just a little bit more about the assignments for this week. So you'll notice as you click into the Canvas shell, I have an announcement up this week, as I will every week. And this announcement starts with this picture. You can change the world. Right? So that's really one of the main tenets of entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, is how you change the world. Maybe the world could be your community. The world could be your block. The world could be your home, right? As we look at the context, or should I say the term the world. Look at it from a macro perspective. That's the entire world, all of California, all of the United States, all of the world literally. Or we can shrink that down and say my individual world. How can you change that? Well, in this instance, when we think about ethics, it's hugely important because business ethics consist of the fundamental moral values and behavioral standards that form the foundation for an organization's people as they make decisions and interact with stakeholders. So maintaining an ethical perspective is essential to creating and protecting a company's reputation, your reputation. But it's not easy. While building an ethical reputation takes a long time, destroying that reputation can happen quickly. So in that context, what I would do now is I would take a look at the modules. And again, as I mentioned earlier, as you are experiencing this course, you might say, wow, that's a tremendous amount of things, Professor Young, that I'm supposed to do. You'll see that the chapter Ethics Entrepreneur Summaries are provided. The PowerPoint slides are provided. And then I have a warm-up exercise that's located in my Mastering Lab, a dynamic study module. The main point I wanted to talk about today is this mini simulation on ethics and social responsibility. This is a really, really eye-opening activity for students to put themselves in the shoes of a business owner, in the shoes of a CEO, and make decisions based upon a scenario that has been presented. In this case, that has to do with ethics. There's Chapter 2 video assignments. And then lastly, there's what is ethics in an organization. This is a discussion board that students will do. And lastly, there's a quiz. So some of you might look at this and go, okay, too much work, I'm not going to do it. Others of you are going to click in and do a little bit. Others are going to do all of it. Keep in mind that this is your opportunity to build an acumen, to build understanding, to build practical, applicable skills as an entrepreneur. So the more you do, the better you're going to be. The better you are, the more success is possible, arguably possible for you. So then after I've looked at week 2, I plan it out and I say, okay, well, I have some assignments to do. The common student would look at the 13th and say, oh, I don't have to do this work until next week sometime. No, today is Monday of our second week. You want to begin now. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and segue into my Mastering Lab. And so you would click here. Now, I have gotten a couple of emails regarding the way in which this page looks. if you purchase the $4.99 per month resource, again, I'm an end user just like you, so I'm not sure what you're seeing on your end. I mentioned to one of my students today, as long as you have the functionality to go within my mastering lab and do the work, then that's all that's required, right? You don't want to compare or contrast what you could see before or what you can see now based upon that cheaper alternative. However, the publisher has assured me that as long as you have purchased or paid for the monthly subscription, that you will be able to take advantage of the resources, the learning resources that are here as they pertain to the course. So for this week, we have a quiz that students are going to be finishing up. And then there's a warm-up, a dynamic study module, and then a video assignment, right? And then the mini case. So on your end, it's going to look a little bit different. You'll be able to actually click on the item and take a look at it. But for me, I have to go in a different way. So I'm going to go into my assignments manager, and I'm going to preview it from that perspective. So in this instance, if we go in and preview the video, let's take a moment.
Are open, and today's big number, $2 billion, as in $2 billion up in smoke for CVS pharmacies. Starting today, the drugstore giant will no longer sell cigarettes or tobacco products, giving up $2 billion in profits, putting health first and becoming the first big chain to do so. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Pfeffler in New York. So here are the details of this. Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman is joining us on this Wednesday morning. Rick, okay, so CVS opting for a healthier image over profits. What prompted this move?
Well, I would say they're not putting profits on the side. I think they're actually thinking quite a lot about profits. They sell about $2 billion worth of cigarettes every year. Their total revenue is about $135 billion. So that's less than 2% of their revenue. And meanwhile, look at all the opportunities there are in healthcare. We've got the Affordable Care Act, so more people are going to have coverage. We've got baby boomers retiring, going into Medicare. CVS is actually getting into the healthcare business. They're not just selling products related to healthcare anymore. They have clinics, business, and a little less.
Okay, so as you see just a short snippet of the video, you can see the value added component of this low stake activity. Right? And so there's some questions that you can answer. And again, when you answer the questions, you can be totally off base, and the system will tell you inherently what the best option is. Now, I get that CVC case is somewhat old, but I do believe it gives us a historical context of how ethics is important in decision making for entrepreneurs. And then the last item that I wanted to share with you is this mini sim that I spoke about earlier. I'm going to preview that, and I won't show you that in detail. But again, this is also going to be an opportunity for students to take what I will call a low stake assessment. And so there's a reading narrative, and after the reading narrative, then you have to answer the questions. Once again, you can be completely off base and just say, well, I want to get to the end and see what the best answer is, because I know that this is not going to drastically impact my grade. Now, this is how I'm going to grade this. So students that do this with due diligence and score the highest on this thing, you're going to get an A. You're going to get the full amount of points as I go back and I take a look at this at the end, right? If you don't do this with due diligence, but you get some of them right, then the grade will be a B. If you go through and you guess, and again, I'll be able to see that because a student might have 1 out of, let's say, 10 points. Then that's where I'll go, okay, well, the student at least touched the material, that's C level. So the more A's you have, the more assignments that you've done well on, then that promotes the fact that you would get an A in the course. Those items that you kind of do so good, just so good. Okay, a little bit, I did it. B, you just barely do the assignments. C, if you don't do any of the assignments at all, you'll still get a C. Again, this is your life. Right? The hope is that you're taking this class to get your certificate of achievement in entrepreneurship to build a business. Okay? All right. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. I know this video was somewhat lengthy, so I'm going to go back into the class. And again, I would just mention that it's probably a good idea for you to view the announcements a couple of times per week. And then there you have it. All right. Well, thank you for watching the video today. Enjoy your Labor Day. And we'll see you, or we'll talk to you again very soon. Again, the entrepreneurial spirit can be enhanced by the entrepreneurial activities. What do I do to become an entrepreneur? Energy, motivated, alert, and value added in my world. Have a great day.